Imagine a large enterprise running thousands of servers across the globe. Some applications still run in the on-prem data center. New workloads are deployed in Microsoft Azure. Others are already operating in AWS. Everything seems fine, until one day a critical application slows down. The infrastructure team checks SCOM dashboards. Nothing obvious. The cloud team opens Azure Monitor. Another team begins digging through AWS CloudWatch. 3 different monitoring tools. 3 different teams, and still no clear answer. Minutes turn into hours. Users start complaining, and leadership asks a simple question: why didn't we see this coming? Because monitoring in hybrid environments isn't just about tools. It's about architecture. In this video, we'll explore the key design considerations for monitoring on-prem, Azure, and AWS using SCOM, and how enterprises can design a monitoring strategy that actually works in a multi-cloud world. When enterprises expand into Azure and AWS, monitoring often becomes fragmented. On-prem teams rely on SCOM, Azure teams use Azure Monitor, and AWS teams default to CloudWatch. Each tool works independently. The real issue isn't tooling, it's governance. Without a unified monitoring strategy, visibility gaps appear at integration points. Those gaps increase mean time to resolution and create operational risk. Hybrid monitoring must be architected, not accumulated. SCOM remains highly relevant in hybrid enterprises. Its strength is not replacing Azure Monitor or AWS native telemetry. Its strength lies in providing a centralized health model for workloads, especially Windows, SQL, and enterprise applications running across environments. In mature architectures, SCOM acts as the governance anchor, ensuring consistent monitoring standards whether the workload sits on-premises, in Azure IaaS, or in AWS EC2. Hybrid monitoring design starts with data flow architecture. For Azure, SCOM integrates with log analytics to extend visibility and enable coexistence. For AWS, API-based integration patterns or management packs allow ingestion of CloudWatch metrics. Gateway servers become critical when monitoring across untrusted domains or DMZs. Latency must be evaluated, especially when workloads are geographically distributed. The architecture decision is not about installing agents. It's about designing secure, resilient telemetry pathways. In hybrid deployments, security architecture drives monitoring design. Management servers should never be internet-facing. Gateway servers in Azure or AWS VPCs act as secure relay points. Certificate-based authentication becomes mandatory across untrusted domains. RBAC must align with operational team structure. CloudOps may need visibility without full SCOM admin rights. Monitoring must enhance security posture, not weaken it. From a financial perspective, hybrid monitoring must be rationalized. SCOM follows a per-core licensing model. Azure Monitor and AWS CloudWatch operate on data ingestion and retention costs. Without architectural discipline, organizations duplicate telemetry, paying twice for the same insights. Mature enterprises define monitoring tiers aligned to workload criticality. Not every workload requires deep performance counters and 400 rules enabled. Cost optimization is a design decision, not a finance problem. From a boardroom perspective, fragmented monitoring creates operational ambiguity. Different thresholds in Azure versus on-prem distort SLA reporting. Cloud teams may deploy parallel monitoring tools, increasing cost and reducing standardization. Duplicate alerts cause fatigue and slow incident response. And often overlooked, what is the disaster recovery plan for SCOM itself? Monitoring must be highly available and protected. Otherwise, you lose visibility when you need it most. Technology is only half the solution. Governance defines success. Who owns monitoring standards? Infrastructure operations? Cloud operations? A centralized monitoring governance board is recommended for large enterprises. Custom management packs must follow lifecycle control. Sealed vendor MPs should be carefully tuned, not blindly enabled. Monitoring architecture must align with ITIL change management processes. The future of enterprise monitoring is observability, not just infrastructure health. SCOM remains powerful for traditional workloads, but enterprises must integrate with Azure Monitor and API-driven AWS telemetry to prepare for cloud-native architectures. Containerization, microservices, and distributed tracing require broader data strategy. The goal is not replacing SCOM overnight. It's evolving toward a unified observability framework with governance at the center. Hybrid monitoring is not about stitching tools together. It is about designing an operational nervous system for the enterprise. When architected correctly, SCOM becomes the governance anchor that unifies On-Prem, Azure, and AWS into a controlled, secure, and cost-optimized monitoring ecosystem. The organizations that win are not the ones with the most tools, but the ones with the most deliberate monitoring architecture. Thank you for watching. If you are designing monitoring across On-Prem, Azure, and AWS, I'd love to hear how your organization is approaching hybrid monitoring. Leave your thoughts or questions in the comments. And if you found this video valuable, consider subscribing for more enterprise SCOM and hybrid cloud architecture insights. Hybrid monitoring is not about adding more tools. It's about designing the right architecture.